Like I said, I often get asked what a pipeline is, right? And I want to start there because a federal sales pipeline, it's really important that we all level set and have kind of the same language here. But a federal sales pipeline is two things. First, it's a repository of federal opportunities that you want to win. And then second, it's a measurement of your chances of winning. So the first thing, the repository, it can be in any format you want. You can write it down on a piece of paper. You put it in Excel. You can use tools like ours in the GovCon in a Box. We just stood up our sales pipeline. It doesn't matter what tool you use, but when you write it down, you've created a repository of the opportunities you want to pursue that you think are good for your company. And then the second thing, that measurement of your chances of winning. If you think about a sales pipeline, it has stages: qualified, pursue, bid, proposal, for example, right? And as you move an opportunity through those stages, you're increasing the likelihood of winning. And that's really important as we move forward. Okay, so we're going to dive into the 25 best federal contracts today. But I wanted to begin just by pointing out Stephen Covey. If you're not familiar with him, he's got this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right? And habit number 1 is be proactive. And today I'm going to teach you how to start 2025 strong, right? I want you to find the best 25 opportunities for you. If you can line them up and put them into your pipeline, then you're going to have a strong year. That's a proactive approach. If you see opportunities in SAM and eBuy, that's totally fine, right? But that's reactive. I do that as well with my customers. If you see something you like, you put it in the pipeline, you start moving forward. But proactive is when you fill your pipeline like I'm going to show you today. And that's something that's really important that you track on. So today we're going to be talking about the 25 best federal contracts. And I want to share not just what those contracts are, but how you can pursue them. So I'm going to break down today's session into 3 main areas, 2 talking and 1 showing. So the first thing I want to talk about is just what's the criteria I use when I describe best contracts, right? 25 best contracts for you to find, right? And I want to lay out a specific criteria so that you can take this away and make sure you're following a similar criteria for your company that works. You can tweak it to make it better for your company, but this is a good general one that I'll share with you. Second thing I'm going to talk about is FPDS. It all begins with FPDS. When you think about trying to find the best opportunities out there, one of the best ways is to find out what was winning, et cetera. And then the last thing I'm going to cover down on is the how. Let's go ahead and look at 25 opportunities for 2025. And I'm going to pick different topics. I want to show you how you can do it, right? And sometimes it's easy. For example, one of the examples I'm going to show today is sign language, American Sign Language. That was really easy for me to find some, and I'll show you that. Another one I tried doing was print services. That one was much harder for me. And so I would have to figure out, get creative in that process. But I'm going to show you the process I use when I'm helping my customers go forward on what they're doing. So if this is what you want to see, go ahead and put Contracts Rock in the chat if you want to see and learn today about how you can find your 25 best opportunities for 2025. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonald. I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce and CEO and co-founder of GovCon in a Box. And I want to welcome you to my federal sales training where I provide tips for success in the federal market. I spent 20 years in the federal market as a small business owner. And since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. When we follow a process A to Z, we have repeatable, predictable results. And this is what I want for you. This is why I'm talking about the sales pipeline and getting 25 opportunities, slam dunk opportunities into that pipeline for you so that you can have predictable success in 2025. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to our government contracting success newsletter. We put out a lot of good content in there. Yesterday, I put out a newsletter article about the 15 upcoming trainings between now and December 20th. And then also later today or tomorrow, we'll put another article out about registering within DHS. They have a supplier portal that you can register in, and you want to be visible to federal buyers. So when you subscribe to the newsletter, you get content like that. If you're already a subscriber, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We passed, I think, like 21,000 subscribers. And this is awesome because the more subscribers we have, the bigger our community is, the more information the government sends to us, asking us to get it to industry, to you. And so it's a good circle for all of us as we build our community. Last thing on this slide is just track on tomorrow's training. Tomorrow's training is on how to get a second meeting. Sometimes we get that first meeting, right? But then in the meeting, something doesn't turn right for us and we don't get that second meeting. I'm going to talk to you about how you can almost guarantee the second meeting going forward. So I'll give you that process tomorrow. Make sure you register for that training as we go forward. So one quick thing, and let me hide my camera to see if I can make this bigger for a second. I just want to congratulate the companies that are in the 100 Club. This is a federal visibility score that we give on GovCon in a Box of how visible are you to federal buyers. Federal buyers have a certain way of looking at their own tools, and so we have created a measurement for you to see how well you have completed their tools. And so we don't have the proprietary information. We just have the process, right? And make the tools available to you to go look at the federal buyer tools like DSBS, et cetera. Out of 360,000 plus small businesses registered in DSBS right now, only 101 of you have a score of 100. I really want to get that higher. When you go in, it's a free tool on GovCon in a Box. Just find your score. When you click on your score, you'll have to register to see the details, but it's free. I give you specific guidance on what you need to do for your company to get to the 100 score. So make sure you do that. If you're in the 100 Club, put it into the chat. Let people know, hey, I'm in the 100 Club. I love how when I turn the camera off, I'm still doing all my antics and as if you can see me. You can see me. All right, so let's get started about what makes what is that criteria for best federal contract, right, that I put in. The first thing is, and as we go forward, this is my opinion on it. And this is my opinion based on a lot of years of experience, but I don't want to sit there and get into a debate that it's the only one. No, if you hear a good idea, it's a good idea. This is mine though, because if I'm looking to help my customers get 25 opportunities into their pipeline for 2025, I want to find the best ones. So the first thing I tell them is you want to identify recompete contracts. And what this means is a contract has already been awarded. Let's say it's been 5 years or 20 years, and it's every 5 years it's recompeted. Well, it's about to come up for competition again, recompete. And they're going to put it out for bid and they're looking for new people. I love that because it means that they've already spent money. They already pretty much are budgeting for this to continue. So recompete is one of the three ways you can think about an opportunity. It could be brand new requirement. The government's never really paid for it before and they want it. Think something like AI, all these AI tools, or think about a brand new building on a VA hospital campus. Those are new requirements, right? The second one is recompete, like I talked about. So this is work they've paid for in the past, and they're just going to do it again. Floor cleaning, help desk support, et cetera. And then the third one is consolidated. And this is where they take two contracts that are already out there and they're going to consolidate them into a new one going forward. It seems like that could be a new opportunity, but it really is a recompete. So consolidated is kind of like a recompete because they're taking two contracts that exist and merging them into one as they go forward. So that's the first one. Second one is the criteria is you need to make sure that the requirement that you're going after, the opportunity you're going after, is a slam dunk opportunity. And what this means, and you can go watch previous training I've done a lot of good training on this, but a slam dunk opportunity is one you absolutely can win. So here's an example. Next year, I'm going to start a company in the beginning, January 1st. I'm going to start a company called Nancy Co. My wife's name is Nancy, and we're going to start a company just so I can show people, hey, I've done it before and I'm teaching now, but here I'll do it again myself and show you how you can go get first $100,000, your first $1 million. And we're going to do a social media play, something I haven't done before, but I do it all the time here. What I mean by a slam dunk is if I look for an opportunity for Nancy Co., it's going to be in LinkedIn and social media outreach. What it's not going to be is media buys. I'm not going to be looking for contracts where I can take the government's money and buy advertisements on LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever. That's not my space. That's not my core competency. That's not a slam dunk for me. But if it's newsletters, that is. If it's reaching industry and getting them engaged, that's my slam dunk opportunity. What is yours, right? So make sure you understand your slam dunk requirement. Generally, you want top keywords that could help with you. For me, social media, LinkedIn, communication and outreach, things like that could be top keywords. that I can use to search, and I'll show you that in a minute. And the third criteria I have here is I want it to be an agency that I know I can win a contract at. And what I mean by this is if you're just getting started, especially if you have no security clearance, etc., then you need to avoid the DoD. Don't go after a prime contract with the Army if you haven't had work with the Army before and you're not anywhere in DoD and you don't have a security clearance, because it's just going to be brutal for you. Go over to HHS where the clearance levels are so much lower. And it's so much easier to get a contract as it relates to, just getting access. It doesn't mean you can't find an Army opportunity you like and find a teaming partner, see if you can ride that wave in. That's totally cool. But make sure when you're looking for slam dunk opportunities, these 25 opportunities that are going to help you in 2025, make sure those opportunities are in an agency you can win. So recompete, slam dunk, and in the agency you can win are the three criteria you really want to pay attention to on what makes it best. I did put a little line here that says, don't worry about contract vehicles. TCV is total contract value, meaning, oh, it's so big, or NAICS code, et cetera. Don't worry about any of those at the moment. What you're trying to find are opportunities you really like. If they're a slam dunk for you, if there's portions that are really a good slam dunk for you and other parts that are not, that's totally cool. You can go out and team and be a subcontractor with somebody else. So you could team up with another company. Like if you're an SDVO, you can find another SDVO and you can go after bigger opportunities together. The ones I really want you to pay attention to is for the slam dunks, by the way, it doesn't mean you can't go after new. I just mean recompete's way better. The reason is because a new opportunity can get kicked down by months or years even down the line. We call it pushing it to the right. And that's just a depressing thing, right? When it's in your pipeline and the due date keeps getting moved. But a recompete, it's pretty guaranteed it's going to end on 9/30 and start on 10/1, for example. Okay, so that's what makes a best opportunity there. What makes a best federal contract? The next thing I want to talk about is how it all begins with FPDS and why I'm saying this. FPDS is the source. There's a lot of government tools out there, a lot of data, et cetera, but FPDS is the source of all award information, minus a little bit, right? There's certain stuff that's not in there. And anytime I talk in broad strokes like this, forget about the exceptions. The FPDS is the Federal Procurement Data System. It is the source of all awards. Yes, you can find some stuff in SAM. Yes, there's some intelligence community stuff that is not in FPDS, but for the bulk of it, it's in there. For most of us who are on this call today, it's in there. And it's awesome. There are subscription services like GovTribe or GovWin, et cetera. There's a whole bunch more that are coming up. Those are fine. And I'm not saying don't use them, but the reason I don't like them is because they weaken us. And what I mean by that is they weaken us as salespeople. Salespeople, our job is to do business development, research, understanding, getting into an agency. Capture is about understanding what we need to know in order to win this opportunity and getting in and talking. I was talking to a customer this morning and we were talking about this opportunity that they're going after. They're like, oh, I got to go GovWin and see what's there. And I pull it up. I'm like, there's nothing here. It's like the last 3 updates from GovWin are, we reached out, we didn't hear anything. We reached out, we didn't hear anything. I went right to Google and I said, org chart, this thing. And I pulled up a whole org chart and handed it to them. And what we now have is about 20 new people that they can proactively reach out to that GovWin won't have. But FPDS is similar to that, right? You can go to the source and then you go back to all your subscription services. Okay, so if you haven't gone there, by the way, I just want to make sure, if you haven't been to FPDS, it's fpds.gov. Stands for Federal Procurement Data System. All right, so the criteria I'm going to show you in a second, and I know I'm going really fast, but I got a lot to show you. The parameters that I'm going to set up in FPDS are pretty straightforward. The first one is I'm looking for contracts. So if I'm looking at 2025 sales activity between now and let's say June and July, right? I want to be kind of getting my sales in that range. But all the way to maybe the end of the fiscal year. So the first thing I'm looking for is contracts expiring in May of 2025 through contracts expiring April of 2026. I just basically gave it a year out. And the reason this is important is because I moved it all back, right? Sales is shifting to the left. So if I got an opportunity that is expiring in May, then pretty sure it's in recompete right now, right? And this is a general statement, but when you look out the end of next year and you see a contract expiring September 30th as an example, that thing is, they're already thinking about it. More importantly, you can get in there and start talking about it. I just saw David Waltz from the Navy. He's a small business professional. If you found opportunities that are expiring that are in his world at Naval Underwater Warfare Center, Division Keyport, if you saw opportunities that were in that space, well, you could reach out to them. Hey, David, I'm looking at this opportunity. It expires in October 2025. Can I come in and talk to you about it? Can you help me get a copy of the old PWS? Could you introduce me to the program manager? Can you give me any guidance? Whatever it is, if you can find those opportunities that are expiring and get engaged earlier, that's really good. So that's why I'm looking at that. And I'll come in and talk about the fields there. And then the second thing I'm searching on is the scope of work, right? This is your core competency. And I'm going to show you examples, but there's these two fields I'm going to search on in FPDS to start. The first one is estimated completion date. That's when it's expiring, basically. And the other is description of requirement. And here, I'm going to use a couple of examples until I run out of time. Sign language, staffing, printing. Oh, no, I tried printing and I couldn't find anything. So printing, I'm going to work with Gus. If you don't know him, he's on here. He's my colleague, and we go after these things together. He and I are going to dig into that and figure that one out. But I'm going to show you some of the other ones I found. Hey, before I do show it, I got two quick announcements. First off, I've been asked this for a couple of years now, if there was a way I could have a standard calendar that you could have on your Outlook or whatever you use, Gmail. And so we have that right here. You can add an event, our whole event calendar. So I've got the next 15 days of training already done. You can have this on your calendar. So I want you to come in and register in LinkedIn, but the details will be on your calendar. You can click on that, and actually, if you go look at the newsletter article I just did, so just go to my LinkedIn profile, you'll see the newsletter article. You'll see the link to do this. Don't do it at the moment because it'll distract you, and I'm about to go into a lot of good stuff. And the second thing at the bottom here is on 12/9, we have another networking event. This is a virtual networking event. I bring together my 35,000 followers on LinkedIn, the GovCon community that we are, bring you together on Zoom, and we sit there and network for an hour live. And so that one's really great. People meet other people and they're able to engage. Plus, I get to see you. I never get to see anybody, right? You get my ugly mug, but I don't get to see your pretty face. And so there we get to see each other, and it's a really good networking event. Hope you can make that. And hopefully somebody will drop that link into chat for me. Okay, so I think, so I'm going to switch over on slides, and let me play with this one. I think I'm sharing this correctly, and I'm going to watch my screen for a second. But we're going to start at FPDS, and you see the completion date right here in the description. This is what that looks like. And so let me just go in really quick to FPDS. Hopefully it all just pops open. Oh, well, that's FPDS, right? It comes up like that. But the one I want is sign language. And so first thing you can see up here, the search criteria that I'm using. I'm not teaching you FPDS so much today, but everything I just said is right there. If you follow my newsletter, I'll take all of this stuff and write an article so that you can see how to do it. But I'm basically saying, here's the dates expiring, and sign language is what I'm looking for. And right away, if you can see here, it's kind of hard to see, but right here, I have 187 opportunities. And this is awesome, right? I'm able to see what's there. Let me just pull that out. And one of my favorite things to do is to just sort it by action, obligation, descending, because who doesn't want to start with the biggest contract first? But for the people who do this business, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 a year is a good contract, and they start adding up, right? Going after it. But here's 187, and so the next thing I'm trying to do. By the way, anybody who uses FPDS, the government finally, whoever owns FPDS, I think it might be GSA, but they finally updated it. So when I click view, it opens in a new tab, and I'm just in heaven. Okay, so I'm just coming down. I'm going to click on a few and just show you how I do this. I didn't do anything but that keyword for the moment. I don't like NAICS codes when I search, and the reason is because it's so broad, right? And you're always eventually going to narrow it down anyway. So I might as well start with a really refined keyword. So here, I found this opportunity. Hopefully you can see it. It's with NIH. And so that's right here. I can see it's HHS with a sub-agency, NIH. And then if I come down here, I'm just looking. It's like sign language and interpreting services. That is exactly what I want to go after. right? I'm going to research it more. I'm going to make sure that it follows, but this is a qualified opportunity and it's golden. So I can look at this and I can say, okay, it's expiring 12/31/25 and it's 1.7 million. And I got to go look at a little bit more detail to see if there was other options, et cetera. But this is really good start. Even if that was over 5 years, 1.75 million as an ASL or an American Sign Language contract's great. All right, so let me come down more. So if I come down here, I'm going to look at this one. So this one's really cool because this is a BPA call for sign language interpreting services for the Baltimore office, National Capital Region. So there's so many things I just read in there that my experience tells me that maybe you don't know or you do. First off, it's what I want. Sign language interpretation, perfect. Second thing, it's a BPA call. If you don't know this, a BPA is basically a contract vehicle. So now I'm like, oh, what's that BPA that this call is coming out on? So these are task orders on the contract vehicle. So now I want to find the BPA and win it. And I want to find this sign language opportunity and win it, or pursue it at least. Then I looked at this and I'm like, oh, the Baltimore, Washington, and National Capital Region, that's all here in the Beltway in the DC area. That is, they're saying this is interpreting services for them. That makes me go, well, I don't get it. Who is this again? So this is ICE, USCIS. And what it tells me right away is they're doing immigration services, et cetera. I wonder if they have this exact same need. Look at this, $2.5 million contract for sign language here in the DC area. What about in Texas? What about in California? What about in Chicago, right? I can expand this now, but I just found another agency and another set of opportunities. And if you don't know this, Jay Riley is the contractor. These guys made it a little harder, so I gotta go be a detective and find Jay Riley. But it's the same thing coming down. Another 2.5. Oh, that's ICE as well. That might be the same one. Let me go see. Yeah, it's the same one. This one here is 3 million. And okay, so this is with DCAA, which is interesting. $3 million. Is this sign language? Look at that. It's sign language interpreting. So just in a couple of seconds, I'm finding these opportunities. It does not mean they're absolutely perfect. What it does mean is they're absolutely perfect starting opportunities. We sometimes call them identified opportunities, but these are pretty slam dunk from my opinion. Okay, so let me go back and show you another example really quick. I'm going to use this one here because I'm going to start a new company. Like I said, hey, why not? Oh, man. Okay, so sometimes things don't work, which is no big deal. I'm going to close that. I'm going to come back up here to my search. I'm going to go to the end, and I'm going to change sign language here to small business office. So I'm going to start Nancy Co. And we're going to be doing industry outreach. That's what I want to sell to the government. And so I'm going to search this to see, are there anybody doing it? Remember, there was 187 for sign language. Here, there's 36. But as I start coming down, I can start researching some of this. I don't know what they are, right? Let me scroll down really quick. But this one, this is aerospace something or other. Aerospace medical standards. So I don't know what this is. Actually, it doesn't tell me a lot. I got to go back and look at it. If I do one more really quick, and I'm just watching my time. So this one here, it's a $14 million contract for what? Procurement decision makers, professional services in support of the OSDW. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I may be able to prime it, or I might have to find somebody, get on their team and say, hey, we can do the social media, LinkedIn, YouTube type stuff. But as you go forward, you can replicate this. Let me go back to the slides. Just by changing the description requirement right here in this quotations, just change it to your word. I have customers who do staffing in our workshop. And so we use staffing, and I can find the staffing or HR recruiting type work that's out there. Help desk was another good example that's out there. All right. So I know I'm going really fast, but I only got 4 minutes left. Here's what I want you to remember. First thing is write down 3 or 4 different key phrases for you. So an example is with Nancy Co. I wrote down small business office because that's kind of my target audience. Another one I'll write down is LinkedIn or social media, things like that. Write down key phrases for you, just 3 or 4 that enable you to go to FPDS and browse, not browse for opportunities. And do what I just did, what I just showed you there. And the last thing is, Do that until you build the list of 25 slam dunk opportunities. You should be able to do this in one day, right? It shouldn't take you multiple days that are out there. So that's a really important thing to remember as you go forward. Let me go back here. Let me find myself. I think I'm here. And the last thing I just wanted to say to you is as we go into 2025, the last time I'm going to work with customers on the BD Accelerator Workshop is the end of December is when we'll sign people up for 2025. And then that'll be it. We're going to sunset that as we do a lot of other tools and things that we're trying to do. So if you're interested in getting some of our help outside of the training, just put workshop into the chat and I will let you know how you can apply and learn more about the workshop to see if that's a fit for you. But it's a BD Accelerator Workshop. The other thing is make sure that you're signing up for tomorrow's training. That training is how to get that second meeting. If you can get the first meeting, I can get you the second meeting. Technically, I can get you the first meeting too. But if you can get it, you can get that second meeting. So come tomorrow and learn about that. Make sure you go to LinkedIn, click on it and register. The other thing is track on, I don't know if I'm sharing this screen here, but track on tomorrow's or 12/9's virtual networking event. And I think that's the last slide here. Yeah, make sure you register to attend there so that you can meet other people in the government contracting space. I talk far less and you network with everybody else, so it's awesome. Hey, as we go forward into the day, into the week, and into December, just remember, government contracting, it is not a secret. It's just a process. I will see you in the next training.